Hello everyone. So I'm driving with my light on the car so you can kind of barely see me. It's a little spooky, but that kind of matches the theme of this video. So let's get into it, guys. This video is called 1,000 Years of Darkness, or the probable result of poor metabolic health. So basically, I was telling my brother about this. He told me I should make more videos like this because he thought it was really informative. But basically, 1,000 years of darkness. So right now we live in a crazy society where you can get cars. I'm driving a car. The iPhone exists. We have all this material abundance that exists as a result of our technological sophistication. But the problem is that this technological sophistication exists as a result of global cooperation and large amounts of very intelligent people in very diverse fields. The only thing that would have to happen for us to go from this wonderful society that's advancing to 1,000 years of darkness is for people's increasingly poor metabolic health and increasingly poor health in general, increasing rates of autism, increasing rates of like all these genetic illnesses, quote unquote genetic illnesses, make us just less functional than we are now, and now we can suddenly no longer sustain global trade at the same level. This doesn't diminish our productive capacity, but what it does is it makes us more resentful of each other globally, so then we all go to war. This war doesn't resolve itself because the causes of wars are always economic, and we won't be able to pull out of it because, again, this was created by a health epidemic. But even, let's just say it's not that. Let's just say there's enough global miscooperation for us to lose the ability to create microchips, which rely on the cooperation of many, many different countries to make microchips. Now, we can no longer run the same technology, supply chains start falling apart, and now our ability to rebuild global cooperation is going to be massively decreased, provided there aren't large numbers of conscious individuals. What would probably start happening at this point is governments would increasingly crack down and take greater and greater control because they would fear losing control of the populations, and we would end up having the increased government control, like during 2020, hurting our ability to think for ourselves, hurting our ability to solve the problem in any sort of way, because, as we all know, cooperation requires creativity, and creativity requires free exchange of ideas, which doesn't happen when the government's going nuts and cracking down on everyone and preventing everyone from doing that. So we then easily end up with no free exchange of ideas. That diminishes people's ability to learn mastery over the technology needed to keep everything going. And you basically end up with a situation where rapidly, really, it's such a delicate thing. Like, all of this functioning requires how many tens of thousands of like hundreds of thousands of engineers and scientists and doctors and lawyers and nurses, all operating at a very high level intellectually to keep society functioning. So many. And more every day as society keeps on increasing, as the population keeps on increasing, and needs keep on increasing, we need an increasing number of people. And it's like when people say don't have kids, that's not going to solve the problem, because then we have an aging population, which just makes the whole thing worse. Now we still have an increasing population because people need to understand math. People need to have more children, not less. An aging population is the worst thing that can happen. So basically, you end up with an aging population. Exactly. So let's say people stop having children, we end up with an aging population. This all happens by default anyway. Wow, that's even worse. So now we end up, oh my God, because then we end up with population decline, and then we'll never be able to sustain the level of technology necessary to keep all this stuff running anyway. And basically what will happen is that the people with power will maintain power, and then because we no longer have the ability to operate society, it's not like they're going to make the information freely available so people can re-educate themselves. They're just going to crack down the information so the information won't be freely available to anyone, No one will be able to educate themselves to even learn anything. The global elites will maintain complete monopoly over all relevant and necessary information, but be unable to use it to run anything effectively. And this will continue until we run out of bullets. And we will run out eventually, because eventually, I mean, we can't make them anymore. So there's just however many bullets are around, and this will just continue until we run out of bullets. And then at that point, hopefully there's enough records around of what things used to be so that people can piece back together the wreckage of our once pretty great civilization. So that's 1,000 years of darkness. And that's why it's really necessary that you give life your all and live a creative and inspired existence. Because if you don't, then the global gears that lead to increased creativity, freedom, and happiness will slow, leading to decrease in output, leading to basically a decrease in the metabolism of society, either through the aging of the population or through the continuing worsening of its health, leading to an inability to sustain the intellectual output required to keep society functioning, leading to governments cracking down on all exchange of ideas, while being unable to run anything until we run out of bullets. Subscribe for more. I'm done.